Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. Today I thought I'd have a play with one of the new stamps, and the one I'm going to use is this beautiful wishing post. I just think it's so magical and I love to use the cheeky mice. So this is what I thought I'd have a play with today. And I'm going to start with a piece of A5 cardstock. Now, all the stamping today I'm going to do in black and just use the Nocturne. And I'm just going to pop it about there. And again, give it a good press. As I say, there is a lot of beautiful detail. And then if we just lift that up, look, absolutely beautiful. I'll move it more into the middle. And then let's go for magic. I think this is magic mail. Now, this is the bit where you just have to pop your head over just to get it in that space. So I'm thinking cheeky mice. Let's go first for Basil, because he's got his lamp and he really needs to show the rest of the cheeky mice. So, and I think we've just got enough room to pop him here. Now again, he's a silhouette, so just give that ink time to soak in. There we go. And again, beautiful. So now I want to make my tower of cheeky mice. So in no particular order, we're just going to build them up. Now this is Minnie. And for me, Minnie always looks like she should be at the base. She's the one that's going to hold everybody up. So again, don't be in a rush. Lovely. And basically, I'm just going to stamp them one after another. There we go. So we've actually got our lovely tower. Now what I'm going for here is very much a monochromatic design. So it's very much going to be sort of black, white and grey, but I am going to add a little bit of pink just to liven it up a bit. So that's most of the stamping done for the minute, and I'm going to come in with graphite and a little bit of confetti. So we'll start with the graphite and we'll bring in the moon mask. And as always, I'm just going to turn it upside down just because I find that a better way. Because when I use the ink, get my stencil brush, blend on the lid, I'm going to ink at the base first. Now, if that comes out too dark, because my ink's too dark, at least it'll just look like shadow. So that's why I just get in the habit of turning it upside down. But we'll just add some. Mine's a well-used graphite ink pad. So I'm going to just turn it round and have a look. And I like that. That's just enough colour. So I'll just blend a little bit more just in the middle here. And I just want to add a little bit of grounding just under our cheeky chaps here. So I'm just going to put a little bit there. Little bit there. And a little bit there. And then what I am going to do is actually, normally I know we would do the landscape and the snow, but when I'm doing it this way, I find it easier to do the sky first because the sky is going to be my grey area. And I like to almost mimic that shape of the moon. I think it looks nice. But also you've got to make sure, check this bit, that it's not decapitating any of our mice. So we'll just whiz along there. And add that nice shape in the sky. And as I say, that for me just looks nice echoing that shape. But here, I just need a little bit extra. Something that almost, because we're going to have snow, but if it's too white, it doesn't look right. It just looks nice to have a little bit, again, no decapitating here. We'll just have a couple of areas where it's almost just got a bit of a flurry. Maybe just a hint of there. And this is very grey, but for me, when it sort of snows, the sky almost turns slightly pinky or a bit purpley, so a little bit of confetti. And I'm just going to start in this corner. And gently, I'm really holding this brush loose. And I'm just going to add a bit in the corner and then just come across the moon. So it almost looks like and it is very gentle. Do make sure you blend in the lid. So we don't want streaks, we just want that nice idea that we've got that pinky tinge in the sky, look. No streaking here, ladies and gents. And it's very gentle. Now, what happens on the snow, you get a reflection almost of that colour of the sky. So I'm not going to ink up because I'll have enough ink on my brush. And I just want that sort of idea. And just some across the bottom. Let's pop the lid on there. And then we won't be tempted to ink up. And that just reflects, can you see? It just gives you that lovely pinky tinge, which for me just helps it sort of look like it's that snowy Christmassy sky. So colouring, I'm going to add a pink front door because I just think it brings in that nice pink from the sky. And I don't want a lot of colour on this. So very lightly, I'm just going to colour and I'm not adding any water. You can, obviously, watercolour pencils. These are my Modulars watercolour pencils, but I'm just going to use mine as actual almost colouring pencils. So, and I just want it quite pale. Just to keep the sort of grey tones. And I'm being mindful to lean on my kitchen roll, just so I don't get any marks on my white areas of snow. And again, I can just bring in these middle bits here, look, add a bit more black. There we go. Just so it gives us that nice sort of vibe. And with the white, I'm just going to come in and use that as a blend on the yellow here. Yes, happy with that. What I'm going to do is come in with my pastel pencils and just add in some little highlights. Again, just to give a little bit of detail. Now, I am going to add a little bit with my Signo pen. And again, I know a lot of you like using your pen. So however you want to add your white highlights. The pen scares me, to be honest. I find I can get away with more if I use my pastel pencils. But again, it's all about we all use what we feel comfortable with, don't we? And then what I will do is I want to add some yellow from the lamp here. But what I found is when I add the yellow, is if I use the white to fuzzy the edge, it makes it look like it's that glow. So I just find if I put my white pencil over that yellow, it gives me a better glow. And while I've got these, I'm going to come in with the grey and I'm going to give myself some shadow here from this. And it'll be sort of this way a little bit. And then the same with the mice. And I know we've got snow, but we'd still have that bit of shadow, wouldn't we? Don't want to overdo it. But I've got my gold, my lovely metallic Uniball pen here. And what I'm thinking is just round the mailbox here, I can add a nice bit of gold and the door handle. Just to sort of make it pop a little. Now, when I got to this stage, I liked it, but I thought there was just something missing. But I just fancied something in the corners. And I went for the holly stamp. that it just needed that something extra. What I'm going to do is colour those berries and colour them in pink. Now, I know you're going to say to me, Jo, holly has red, mistletoe has white. Well, these are magical berries and these are pink to go with the pink door. Because don't forget, this is magic mail. So if we've got magic mail, we've got magic berries as well. Do you know what? If they were magic, they'd colour themselves, wouldn't they? That's what I'm thinking. Be no fun though, would it? And this is why I only stamped at the top and the bottom and not in all four corners. So let's have a look. Now I'm going to come in with my white signal. And again, just to add a few little highlights. And I find for me, as you know, as I keep saying, I'm a bit scared of this, but I just find if I add it, just a few little bits, because I've got the pastel underneath, I almost find it more forgiving. But again, that could just be me. So don't need to add it on everything. But what does look nice is if you put a little highlight in the berries. Now with my black micron pen, I'm just going to add a couple of these so it looks like the mice are doing a bit of a juggling act, look, that they're trying to keep, so it gives them a bit of movement, a nice bit of movement, which I think looks lovely. So I fancy a bit of snow. So I'm going to come in with my Stardust, my Stickles. Now, I tend to put myself some on my mat. And then this is an empty Wink of Stella brush, but I use it for my Stickles. And it just means I can come in and paint the Stickles exactly where I want it. So I'm just putting a little bit on the roof, so we've got a nice bit of sparkly snow or frost on the roof, and we've got a little bit that's just caught in there, and then under here. And what you'll also find is this will dry quicker as well, because you get a nice fine, you don't get it too thick, and the good thing is your Stickles will last longer. And then lastly, some Posca snow. Now, what I've discovered as well, and because it's acrylic paint and we've got a dye-based ink, the ink almost absorbs the Posca, so it won't look as white until this is dry. So I could either use my heat tool, but what I tend to do is put myself some Posca snow on, and again, I'm just going round over the holly, in the sky, trying to avoid the mice. I don't really want to cover the mice in snow. I'll have a little bit round the door though. And what I'll do is I'll call it a day there, but I will come back later when this is dry and add a little bit more. So I almost do it in 2 layers. I put one lot on, let it dry, and then come back in and add some more. And for me, I just find that works better with my Posca. So there we have the 2. And I'm thinking, as I say, if you wanted a smaller version, you could comb this down and make yourself a lovely A6 card. I mean, you know, if you're sending it to a friend and you know the house number, maybe put the house number on. Maybe a little bit of a Christmas wreath, holly on the roof. Oh, do you know, I just know you're going to have so many ideas, and I really can't wait to see what you come up with. So you enjoy playing, enjoy sharing, and please keep commenting on each other's work. It's lovely when you comment on each other's, and it's just so nice to make somebody's day by leaving them a lovely comment. So you take care, everybody. I'm off now. Time to go and feed and walk Eric. Love and hugs from me. Thanks for popping in. Bye for now.